In the beginning of the story, we see a jail named the Shawshank Redemption. This is the most secure jail in the world. There are thousands of prisoners in this jail, but no one has been able to escape from this jail because the security of this jail is very strict. There are also prisoners in this jail who have spent their whole life in this jail, but they didn't even think of running away from this jail because the punishment for the prisoner who tries to escape from this jail is death. Now the scene is cut here, and we are shown a man named Andy in court, who is a banker of a very big bank in America. The judge sentences him to life imprisonment for the murder of his wife and his lover. But Andy says that I have not committed this murder. But Andy did not have any proof to prove himself innocent, because of which the court judge sends Andy to the world's most secure jail, the Shawshank Redemption, for life imprisonment. There are many more prisoners with Andy, and when these prisoners are brought to jail, then the remaining prisoners in the jail make a bet among themselves that which of these new prisoners will cry tonight. And for this, they bet on a box of cigarettes. They stand outside the line and choose each of the new prisoners. Then a prisoner named Red bets on Andy, because he thinks that Andy is very innocent, and he is from a very rich family who has never suffered. That's why he thinks that he will cry first tonight. After this, all the prisoners are brought to jail in line, and each prisoner is locked in his cell. It's night after a while, and then the old prisoners start shouting at the new prisoners, so that one of them gets scared and starts crying. And this is what happens. One of these new prisoners starts crying and says that I have to go home. Then the guards come there and forbid him to cry. But when that man does not stop crying, then the guards take him out of the cell and beat him so much that he becomes unconscious. On the other hand, Red loses the bet on Andy, and Red understands that Andy is very strong, because despite being so scared, he did not make a single sound. That's why the next day, Red gives a box of cigarettes to his partner, because the bet on Red, Andy had lost. Then we see Andy, who is quietly having breakfast alone. Then Andy meets the oldest prisoner of the jail, Brooks. Brooks will be here in this jail for about 50 years. Andy intelligently tries to know all the small and big rules of this jail and every prisoner. Then Brooks tells every secret of the jail to Andy. And he tells Andy that if you want to order something from outside the jail, then go to a prisoner named Red. As soon as he hears this, Andy does not wait, and he goes straight to Red and says to Red that I have heard that you can order anything from outside inside. Then Red says, yes, I can order, but something that does not help in running away from here or killing someone. Andy says to Red that I want a hammer. As soon as he hears the name of the hammer, Red says that why do you want a hammer? Are you not going to kill anyone with a hammer? Then Andy says, no, I'm not going to kill anyone. I have no enemy here. Hearing this, Red says that you don't have an enemy here, but soon some people are going to be your enemies. He points to some people and warns Andy that their evil eye is on you, so stay away from them. The next day, at Andy's behest, Red orders a hammer for him. And when he sees the hammer, Red starts laughing because the hammer is very small in size, and Red thinks that it will take 600 years to make a hole in the jail with this hammer. After this, through Red Brooks, the hammer reaches Andy's cell. Such days pass, and one day, when Andy is working in the laundry, then those three people who have an evil eye on Andy, they catch Andy. Andy tries to get rid of them, but he was not able to control the three people alone. That's why the three of them beat Andy a lot first and then do wrong with Andy. This process goes on like this. These people always catch Andy and then kill him and do wrong with him. 2 years pass like this, and an announcement is made that some people are needed for the repair of the roof. Here a team of prisoners gets ready for the work of the roof, including Red and Andy. These people start their work, and their responsibility on the roof is of a very strict security guard named Hadley. Hadley is a very strict person who beats the prisoners very badly on a small mistake. When all the prisoners are working on the roof, then Hadley gets a little worried and tells his companions that my brother has just died, whose account is $30,000. Now my brother has no one else in this world except me, so I have a right on his money. But the problem is that when I transfer these $30,000 to my account, then the government will take all the money from me as tax. When Hadley was talking to his companions, then Andy also listens to all his talks. Andy, who was a very big banker, he knew how to get this money out without taxing the government. After this, Andy goes without thinking to Hadley and tells him that, do you trust your wife? As soon as he hears this, Hadley gets angry and takes Andy to the edge of the roof.
But before throwing him down, Andy tells him that if you trust your wife that she will not cheat you, then you can easily transfer your brother's money to your wife's account, even without tax. Because there is a rule of the government that any person can gift his wife up to $60,000 in his life, and no tax is imposed on this money. Andy also says that if you hire a lawyer from outside, then he'll charge you a lot of money, but I can do this for you for free. Then Headley asks, "What do you want in return?" On this, Andy says with a smile, "I don't want anything. When your job is done, just give my friends beer." And the next day, all the prisoners are sitting on the roof and enjoying the beer. That is, Andy did Hadley's job, but Andy doesn't drink beer. He sits in a corner and is happy to see everyone drinking beer. Andy's companions are also very happy with him because it was almost impossible to drink beer in jail, but because of Andy, his wish came true. Then time goes by and the friendship between Andy and Red gets deeper. A few days later, all the prisoners are shown a film in jail, and everyone is watching Rita Hayworth's film. Then Andy comes to Red and says, "I need a big poster of Rita Hayworth." Andy asks Red for a poster because there was only one Red in the whole jail who could order anything from outside. After this, Andy comes out, but as soon as he comes out, there are 3 people who are standing there who are wrong with Andy. They say to Andy, "Come with us," but this time Andy refuses. When Andy refuses, they catch him and try to force him, but Andy also competes with them, but they are 3, because of which they beat Andy very badly. But today, these people can't do anything with Andy. But these people beat Andy so much that Andy goes to the hospital for a month, and also the man who killed Andy is put in the dungeon for a week. A week later, when he comes back to his cell, there is the same officer of whose Andy had saved a tax of $30,000. And someone had told this officer that this man has beaten Andy so much that he has gone to the hospital for a poor month. Now here that officer beats that man so badly that he gets paralyzed forever. After a month, when Andy comes back to his cell from the hospital, then he gets a big poster of Rita Hayworth in his cell, which is actually a welcome gift from Red. Days go by like this, and one day the warden of the jail comes to Andy's cell with a security guard and searches his cell. After checking the cell, when the warden does not get anything, then the warden's eyes fall on the poster in front. The warden says that I do not allow posters in the cell, but you can put it in your cell. Actually, the search is an excuse. This officer told the warden how Andy saved his $30,000 tax. That's why the warden wanted to meet Andy. Andy has a Bible in his hand, which he takes the Bible and leaves. But after going a little far, he comes back and says, "Freedom is in this." The next day, the warden calls Andy to his office and says that an intelligent man like you should not be behind the bars of the jail. That's why the warden makes Andy the assistant of the library. In the library, there's an old man named Books, who's been managing the library for a long time. That's when the officer for whom Andy had saved his $30,000, he brings the other officer to Andy. Actually, he had an ITR problem which Andy fills in a few minutes, because of which Andy's discussions start in the whole jail. As the years go by, Andy's work continues to grow, because of which Andy needs an assistant, and he makes his assistant his best friend, Red. One day in the library, Books puts a knife around a prisoner's neck, and he threatens to kill him for no reason. Actually, the government has forgiven him, but he does not want to leave this jail. Today, he has been in this jail for 50 years. His whole life has passed in this jail, and he has completely forgotten what the outside world is like. This jail world is his real world, and he thinks that if he kills someone, his punishment will increase and he will be kept in this jail. On Andy's explanation, Books leaves the man on whose neck he had put the knife. Now, even though he doesn't want to, when Books comes out of jail, he finds the outside world very strange. In 50 years, the speed of the outside world has increased a lot. Where there used to be a car on the road, now there's a crowd of cars on the roads. A few days later, he starts working in a supermarket, but he does not like the outside world at all. He repeatedly remembers the jail and he wants to come back to jail. That's why he sometimes thinks that he should commit a crime so that he can go back to this jail. But Books did not want to commit any crime at this age, and in this crowded, fast-paced life, Books cannot survive and gives up his life. Before dying, he writes a letter to his colleagues in jail, which makes everyone very emotional while reading it. There, we are shown the jail, where the warden starts a new program. In this program, the prisoners of the jail will be taken out to work so that they can find out how to earn money with hard work. And the prisoners also agree to this work because they all wanted to breathe the outside air. And this is how the warden works with these prisoners.
But through this project, the warden gets a lot of contracts because the labor of the prisoners of the jail is very cheap. And the local construction labor team outside does not get work anywhere because the warden makes them work with his prisoners at half the price. And the warden works at half the price because the prisoners were not any labor that the warden could give. That's why the warden gets a lot of money by making the prisoners work for free, and his money is black. But because Andy is a banker, all the black money of the warden turns into white. Actually,
Andy deposits this money in the name of such a man who does not exist in this world, and he transfers all the money to his account, so that if the police find out, the police will be looking for a man who has never been born in this world. Now a new prisoner comes to the jail, whose name is Tommy. Tommy is very young, and he has been to many jails at this young age. Tommy was of a very friendly nature. That's why he soon befriends many prisoners in the jail. One day at the dinner table, Tommy tells everyone that I have been stealing for many years, so I have been to many jails here. And this time too, I have come to this jail because of theft. Listening to Tommy, Andy tells him that if you are being caught again and again after stealing, it means that this work does not suit you, so you should stop stealing. Tommy thinks this is absolutely right, so Tommy starts getting information about Andy from Red. Tommy tells Red that Andy is a very intelligent and decent person. Why did he go to jail? Red tells him that Andy was a very big banker, but he killed his wife and lover, which is why he was imprisoned all his life. Listening to this, Tommy gets into thinking. As soon as he remembers something, he calls Andy. Now Andy and Red are in front of Tommy. Tommy tells them that 4 years ago, I went to a jail where I found a prisoner, and that prisoner told me that one night he went to steal in a house. During the theft, the owner of the house woke up. Now in fear of being caught, he killed the owner of the house and his wife. Later, he found out that they were not husband and wife, but lovers, and that woman was the wife of a very big banker. After a while, when I read the news in the newspaper, I found that when the police investigated these two murders, the police suspected that the two were killed by the banker. So the banker was arrested for the murder of his wife and his wife's lover. Here we know that Andy was innocent. After knowing all this, Andy goes to the warden and tells him all this, but the warden deliberately does not believe him because Andy is the person who turns his black money into white and knows all the secrets of the warden. Therefore, if Andy leaves here, the warden will be able to earn more money and perhaps the secret of his black money will also be revealed. Therefore, he tells Andy that this is a false story. I get to hear such stories every day. Andy promises the warden that even if I am free, I will keep your secret. But the warden does not listen to any of Andy's words. Seeing this, Andy gets very angry that I helped this man so much, but despite being innocent today, he is not letting me go outside. Therefore, Andy shouts at the warden. Then the warden puts Andy in a dark cell for a month, and then he goes straight to Tommy, and the warden asks Tommy if the things you have told Andy are all true. Tommy says yes, this is absolutely true. Then he tells Tommy that if you are called to court, you can testify in court. Then Tommy says, yes, I am ready for this. Hearing this, the warden points at the guard above and he deceives Tommy with bullets. After this, the warden goes to Andy and tells him that Tommy tried to escape, so he was shot. But Andy understands why Tommy was killed, and Andy thinks that the warden is a very bad person. Andy tells the warden that after today I will never do your work. Then the warden says, you will have to do my work or I will make this jail hell for you. And while leaving, the warden tells the security guard to keep him in the dark cell for another month. The dark cell was a very scary place, where the prisoner had to stay in the dark for a month. Now Andy had spent a month there. This news spreads in the jail that Andy is being punished for the crime that he had never committed. All the prisoners in the jail are very sad for Andy. Now after spending 2 months in the dark cell, when Andy comes out, Red comes to him. Andy asks Red if you will ever be able to get out of here. Red says yes, but when I will be very old and my mind will stop working. Andy says that I will leave here and go to Mexico. There is a very beautiful place by the sea in Mexico. It is said that a person loses himself there. I will open a restaurant there. I will repair my ship by the sea. And there I will meet a handyman who will bring things for me from outside. Actually, he was pointing to Red. Red hears this and says hope is a very dangerous thing. It drives a person crazy. You will have to return to the world of truth. Mexico is very far from here. Saying this, Red starts going there, but before going, Andy tells Red to promise that if you ever get out of here, you will do one thing for me. Red says, yes, I will definitely do it. Then Andy tells Red an address and says that whenever you get out of here, go to that place where there is a beautiful tree. I propose to my wife under that tree. He tells Red that under that tree you will find a black stone inside a wall under which I have hidden a box. And whenever you get out of here, go there and see what's in that box. Saying this, Andy leaves there and goes straight to the warden. He completes the work of the warden and keeps all his documents in a special safe. After keeping the documents, the warden gives Andy his clothes. He tells Andy to press my clothes and shine my shoes like a mirror. After this, Andy comes back to his cell. On the other hand, Red is very worried tonight because he was afraid that Andy would kill himself somewhere. The night passes like this and morning comes.
As soon as morning comes, all the prisoners' cell doors open and all the prisoners come out. But Andy does not come out of the cell. This was happening for the first time in the last 20 years that no prisoner did not come out of his cell in the morning.
Then Red's eyes also go towards Andy's cell, and Red's worries keep increasing that Andy did not kill himself somewhere. Then a guard goes to Andy's cell in a lot of anger, but when he reaches there and sees, his eyes remain open because there was no one in the cell and Andy had escaped from there. Now we see the warden, who takes out his shoes to wear, but in that box he does not have it, but Andy's old shoes are there. And then the whole jail starts ringing a siren, and this siren is the siren of a prisoner. The warden quickly goes to Andy's cell and sees that Andy is not there. Then he tells the security guard to go and call Red because he always lived with Andy. Red is also called here. The warden asks Red, "Where is this Andy?" Red says, "I don't know." The warden gets very angry about this. He says, "Was he a ghost who disappeared from here at night?" In anger, the warden picks up the stones lying there and starts hitting the guards in Red. And he also hits a stone on that poster that is attached to the wall, but the stone does not fall down, but it goes through the poster. And when the warden puts his hand in it, he sees that Andy had made a very big tunnel there, which everyone is surprised to see because this wall is very strong. It was almost impossible to make a tunnel, but Andy made the impossible possible and escaped from here. After this, all the guards go there from where Andy came out. There they get Andy's old clothes and the hammer that Andy had ordered from Red 20 years ago. This is the same hammer with which Andy had been making a tunnel in his cell wall for the past 20 years. For 20 years, Andy did this work so finely that no one even knew. Also, whatever dirt came out of the wall, he kept it in his pocket and scattered it on the ground. The last time Andy worked for the warden, he kept all the documents of the warden's black money with him and kept the Bible with him cleverly in front. And Andy shows the warden as if it is not a Bible but his documents. Also, the clothes that the warden had given him to press like a mirror, Andy wears the warden's clothes first and then wears his old clothes on it. And the shoes that the warden had given him to shine like a mirror, Andy wears them and leaves. As soon as all the lights are turned off at night, Andy comes out of the tunnel made in his cell. After that, he breaks a gutter pipe and runs away from that jail wrapped in a thin gutter pipe that no one had been able to escape from. However, the gutter pipe that Andy came out of was about 2 kilometers long. The next morning, Andy goes to the bank where all the black money is kept. This money is in the name of a man who does not exist in this world. All these documents were made by Andy, and the signature of the owner of that account in the bank was done by Andy from the jail. So it is not difficult for Andy to withdraw all the money of the warden. Andy has all the documents. So Andy goes to the banks and withdraws all the money of the warden. And this money is $370,000. This means that Andy was not only free, but also got rich. And here we know that from the day Andy entered that jail, he was planning this work. The warden had treated Andy very badly in the jail, and he also killed Tommy. That's why he gives evidence of the black money of the warden to the media. The next morning, this news is published in the newspaper, and when the warden opens the safe and sees, there are not his documents but the Bible. On the first page of the Bible, Andy writes, "You were right, salvation is in this." And when he flips the page, he sees that there's a mark of a hammer. Actually, Andy had cut the pages of the Bible into the shape of a hammer and made a frame in which he used to hide his hammer. And 20 years ago, when the warden went to Andy's cell for the first time and he took Andy's Bible from his hand and returned it to him, even at that time, that hammer was in the same Bible. Seeing this, the warden gets a big shock. On the other hand, the news of the warden's black money had spread throughout the city. That's why reporters and police are coming to arrest the warden outside the jail. And before the police arrest him, the warden shoots himself. After a time, Andy's friend Red's punishment is also forgiven, and a job is also given to him. However, we do not like Red at all because he had spent 40 years of his life in jail. Red also lives in the same room where Brooks used to live, and Red also wants to give his life, but then he remembers that he had promised Andy. After that, he leaves for that place in a car, and he goes to the field where there is a very big tree. There is also a wall of stones. There is a black stone on that wall, and when he picks up that stone, there is a box under it. There is some money in that box and a letter. This letter is from Andy. It is written in that letter that Andy is waiting for Red at the same place about which Andy had told Red in jail. It is written further that hope is a good thing. After this, Red reaches that place, and when he goes to the seaside, he sees that Andy is sitting in the boat and fixing his boat. This place is all the dream of Andy, which he had shared with Red in jail, and Red had said, "Hope is not good." After this, they hug each other, and this story ends with this.
If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe to our channel and like the video.